Okay, our next item on the agenda is 7.1, resolution of the Visalia Unified School District regarding LGBTQ plus Pride Month, enclosure number 30.
So I'm going to hand this over to Mrs. Gamoyan,
Okay.
this resolution, to talk about this.
Okay. Read it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Whereas the Visalia Unified School District has a vibrant and diverse community, including students, teachers, administrators, school personnel, and family members who are or have friends or family members who are LGBTQ plus. Whereas the district goals include ensuring a safe, secure, healthy, positive environment that promotes a sense of significance and belonging, where all students, staff, parents, guardians, and community members are treated with respect, dignity, compassion, and kindness. Whereas the belief of the Visalia Unified School District, as outlined in the district's Student Conduct Code, states that every person in our school community has value, and the students and staff who attend our schools and their families are diverse in many ways, which is an asset. Whereas an institution of learning, the district must educate students on working together to listen, learn from, comprehend the experiences of others and their families' history, heritage, in order to form a more perfect United States. Whereas the California Department of Education's History Social Science Framework for grade 11 students includes examination of the emergence of a movement for equal rights for LGBT individuals, resulting in Pride events often held in the month of June. Whereas the district adopted curriculum materials that comply with the Fair Education Act, ensuring all groups, including the LGBTQ plus community, are represented fairly and accurately. Whereas the members of the LGBTQ plus community still face discrimination simply for being who they are, and a recognition of increased fear and anxiety of not belonging generally experienced nationwide by LGBTQ plus students. Whereas Education Code Section 220 is the policy of California to afford all persons in public schools, regardless of their disability, gender identity, gender expression, nationality, race or ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or any other protected characteristic, equal rights and opportunities in the educational institutions of California. Whereas in 2019, the district was identified as the only district in the Central Valley to receive a top-tier designation in Equality California Institute's 2019 Safe and Supportive Schools Report Card, based on a survey criteria analyzing school climate, school cultural competency training, inclusive curriculum, suicide prevention, and the district hereby considers this resolution. Now, there it be resolved, the Board of Education of Visalia Unified District, that the district staff and administrators are advised to review, update history, social science, and anti-bullying curriculum as outlined in existing state law, follow board policy and approved process to provide supplemental instructional materials and or activities regarding the LGBTQ plus movement for equal rights and the history and meaning behind the month of June being declared as LGBTQ Pride Month. LGBTQ plus Pride Month. Address the health and safety of LGBTQ plus individuals by continuing to offer and provide cultural proficiency training to staff, educators, administrators, and school board members. Protect all youth by continuing to comply with all existing laws regarding safe access to clubs, programs, and district facilities. Be it further resolved that the district administration shall work to fulfill the intent of this resolution while working to maintain a safe, positive, inclusive environment for all students.
Okay. Any comments or questions for the board?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to say how important this is for our students. And I want to take a moment to thank all of our partners, and in particular, students who are involved in providing language and feedback on this resolution to really affirm our district as being safe and inclusive and providing a safe environment for students. There are multiple studies and research which demonstrates how these affirming policies can be life-changing and in many cases life-saving for these individuals who are often bullied, discriminated against, or contemplating suicide. I myself am always reminded of a young man from Tehachapi, California, when I was in high school, a young man by the name of Seth Walsh, who was 13 years old and who identified as gay and was bullied by his peers up to the point where he eventually committed suicide. And I think about how important this is for our students, how important this is for our staff, how important this is for our community members. And I really want to thank everybody who was involved throughout this process. And I really want to affirm the slogan that our incoming superintendent was talking about today. I hope when students read this resolution, I hope when community sees this resolution, they know that they can believe in, that they belong, and that they are a part of VUSD. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Casey?
No, I think that was very well said. Thank you, Dr. Villegas. Also, thank you to Brandon. I know Mr. Gridiron, went and really served as a fabulous liaison between the students and the source and worked with us over many meetings to craft this. So thank you.
Ms. Gamonian?
Yes. It's really important to me that all our kids are connected to the school, and I want to make sure all kids feel safe and belong to the school community. There are people who have LGBTQ values on gender and sexuality, but there are also people who have religious values on gender and sexual values. And right now in this climate, both sides are being bullied, and it needs to stop. Every person in our school has value and dignity, and let's treat all people that way. It is not about any kind of promotion. It's that there's value and dignity in all human beings, and that is why I'm voting for this.
Ms. Nader?
Yeah, I think, again, it's very controversial, but, again, respect for all. I think that's what comes out of this. For me, every student should be respected. Every student should feel safe when they go to school. And that's why I'm going to vote for it, because it's not just this group, it's all students. All students should feel safe. All students should feel that they're not going to be harmed when they go to the bathroom, or they're not going to be forced into something, but they should feel safe and comfortable talking to teachers, to staff, to administrators. And that's what this is all about. And again, this resolution kind of spells it out, but again, it's all of our students. And I just want to make sure that all students, I mean all, feel safe, secure, and supported.
I have a couple of public comments here. One is Erica Hawkart.
Hello, my name is Erica Hawkyard, and I'm the Youth Program Manager for the Source LGBT+ Center. And I'm here to speak on behalf of the queer youth who didn't feel safe enough to come tonight. I'm sorry, it's so personal. I ask you on their behalf to acknowledge Pride Month. A study in the Journal of Adolescent Health conducted in 2018 reported that gender diverse students who were supported by LGBTQ+ affirming policies like Pride proclamations had a 56% drop in suicide, ideation, and completion. That's huge. Additionally, the GLSN data estimated that 1,500,000 trans youth nationwide between the ages of 13 and 17, that's more than half of all trans and gender expansive youth, reported they had no access, half those numbers reported they had no access to a school restroom that matched their gender identity, and only 1 in 3 were always called their true name while at school. Also, as a community partner who has visited this semester alone 6 GSAs in your district this year that were jam-packed with queer kids, there is a need to acknowledge these kids. Pride proclamations are a small step towards creating a safe environment for LGBT youth, and make no mistake, policies and proclamations save lives. Today you're voting on suicide prevention, on pathways to acceptance and belonging. I also implore you to consider that other districts in Tulare and Kings counties look to you, VUSD, to model school policies and campus cultures And your Pride Proclamation has the potential to improve the outlook of youth beyond VUSD. Thank you for your time. Happy Pride Month. Excuse the tears.
Okay. Ben Cummings.
Just take this off.
I'm Ben Cummings, and I just wanted to give a little history about why Pride Month is so important. So on June 28th, 1969, the Stonewall Inn was a meeting place for queer people from across New York City. It was raided that night by the New York Police Department. That night, the New York Police Department destroyed the space that was a place of safety and security for so many who had been cast out by society, and their outrage turned into action. Although the person who threw the first brick may never be identified, the heroes of that night sparked a national protest against the mistreatment of queer people. From 1970 until now, the celebration of Pride has been an annual event held in June where members of the queer community protest the idea that we should be ashamed of who we are and instead speak out for the right to exist without the demonization and cruelty that we are afforded every day that we exist. Indeed, from Anita Bryant in the 1970s, who fought against laws designed to protect queer people against discrimination, to the murder of Harvey Milk, who worked hard to pass those laws, the scales of history have always tipped in favor of those who seek to make queer people feel ashamed about what they do. Anita Bryant's bigoted message of, quote, save the children, is to this day used by anti-queer groups to suggest that queerness is synonymous with heinous crimes so that they can try to banish queer teachers and queer people from society. Fast forward to when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was codified into law, and the belief that it was okay to be queer was only allowed if you hid it away and didn't expose others to it. The fight for Pride is not a fight for rainbows and corporate sponsorships. Pride is about the right to embrace who we are and celebrate the fact that we exist. While it often accompanies parties and parades, it is fundamentally a protest of the treatment of queer people by the people we live our days surrounded with. This year, we are tasked with battling a growing anti-queer sentiment. 2 days ago, we honored the 6-year anniversary of the murder of 49 queer people at the Pulse nightclub as they were celebrating Pride Month. This last weekend, disaster was thankfully avoided when police arrested 31 white supremacists at an Idaho Pride event where they planned to riot and had brought knives and weapons and riot gear in order to attack the Pride members. And every year, queer kids across our country have to question whether or not they're going to commit suicide because they feel like they're not accepted in their communities. This year, those who seek to stifle queerness have always existed in our country, from the KKK to the people in Visalia, who, after I spoke last year asking for a Pride Month proclamation, emailed me and threatened me. When the day comes that I can say I'm queer without that fear of that type of reprisal, only then will the need for Pride end. I hope that for all of our sakes, this work continues without queer people like myself having to demand action in the face of bigotry, and I hope that this work results in an understanding that we can be proud of someone for what they have overcome, even if who they are doesn't always align with what we believe. 2 weeks ago, I attended the Fresno Rainbow Bride Parade, and I was brought to tears when I saw the Fresno Unified Float with over 200 members of the school community riding and walking in the parade, carrying a banner that said Fresno Unified School District, creating safe, supportive, and inclusive spaces for all. Mr. Shroom, I'm super excited to have you here, and I do believe in VUSD. It's time for us to show that our queer students belong in VUSD. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion.
I'll
Motion by
second.
Dr. Villegas, second by Ms. Gaby. All in favor?
Board Member Naylor,
Yes.
Board Member Villegas,
Yes.
Board Member Blair,
Yes.
Board Member Gaby.
Yes.
I vote yes. President Guerrero,
Yes.
motion carries 6-1, 1 absent.